All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Psychonaut Sessions, your home for all things psycho. I'm your host, Daniel Moeller, and here today I'm hanging out with the one and the only psychedelic aficionado, Rick Lopez. How are you, sir?
How's it going, dude? I'm glad we finally get to talk, man. I've been wanting to get you on Zoom for a while. Yeah,
totally. I am a huge fan of your work. For anyone that doesn't know, The Power is, where's my camera? An amazing book. And I know that you're working on issue 3 right now.
Yeah, there's the cover for issue 3. It's like flatted. It's not like totally done, but this is pretty close.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Like, it's an idea. Get it all together with the other ones, you know? It's pretty close.
Hell yes. Yeah. Gorgeous. As well as COSMICAT, and you have stuff in Image Grand Design, Grand Disaster, I think.
I did pages in Grand Design. I did a page in Weapon Egg. I did a 2 pages in the Batman Year that's coming out.
Yep.
Just like small stuff, nothing too crazy. Yeah, hopefully.
It's all beautiful. Are you doing the cover for Batman Year Wah?
No, the one that I posted today was just one of the house ads.
Okay.
But it was still fun to draw. It's still pretty an iconic image for them, I think, for that book.
It's a hugely iconic image. It's beautiful. You did a wonderful job. Yeah, I got one page in that. And it's the sequence where that building catches on fire and Batman's falling out of it, and so it's I got the really cool page with a panel where he's like falling backward with the flames kind of coming off of his cloak and everything. So
that's sweet.
Totally awesome. So we're just gonna kind of everyone just talk, and I'm gonna get to know Rick, and we're gonna draw at the same time because we're both hardworking men.
I got lucky with year 1 because I got 1 page initially. I think that's all we're allowed to grab or something, or maybe I just grabbed 1. And it's the page when he first shows up. It's like one of the most iconic ones, but it's like when he shows up and he tells them like, you've eaten for far too long, you know, like it's like the big splash, or the big like splash of him like breaking through everything, and there's all the smoke. Beautiful. And then like all the gangbangers or the mafia, they see him and he like puts out the fire and everything goes to black. So I got that one at first, and then someone had to drop out and I grabbed that house ad.
Nice.
So that was cool. Unfortunate for them, but I was grateful.
So what are you working on tonight, man?
I'm inking this page from The Power issue 3. So since we do next panel press, I typically try to start those the Monday before they're due. So it's like every other week I'm going from The Power back to COSMICAT. But which is funny because the last update for COSMICAT, I was dead set on doing 2 pages and I just could not get to ink that second page, so I cut that strip in half, but I mean it was still 1 page. But the pencils are pretty much done for that thing now, so I have a little bit more time until I need to start inking it. So I'm just trying to get as much done of The Power as I can because I really want to get this 3rd issue out.
You planning 4 issues for Power?
Yeah, it'll be 4, and then I'll collect it down the road. I don't see, that's another one. I'm not exactly sure how long I should wait to collect it, but I know I want to collect it. Maybe I'll just do like pre-orders for the 4th one and like buy exact or something, and then just go to I don't know. See, I don't even know.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with Psychonaut Presents, but the catalyst of getting into Planet Comic-Con, KC's local comic convention, kind of spearheaded me to just move forward and trying to get it, even though I had just put out issue 4. But it was a fun process. It was a learning process, that's for sure.
It didn't feel too close to the 4th one though.
Oh, well, that's good.
I don't think so anyways.
where are you from? And like your experience growing up, like where did comics come into the fray for you? Was it like was it something that you've always been passionate about? Did you come late? Like where, or just even in art in general? What's the life of tiny little Rick Lopez like?
Well, I'm from Southern California. I mean, I was born in like Harbor City in Los Angeles, but I mean, I'm like really like, I wouldn't say I've ever lived in LA really for any long period of time. It was usually like in like the mountains when I was really small in Crestline, if you ever heard of that, like near like Lake Gregory.
Yeah.
Like, kind of by Big Bear. And then moved down here into the high desert when I was like 7, and I've been here since. And but like we're close enough to everything that we can, like, if you got to go to Vegas or LA, you go one way or the other. It's like right in the middle of that. Like the opening of Fear and Loathing, he's like, we're somewhere 40 miles outside of Barstow. Like,
yes,
I'm pretty much 40 miles right outside of Barstow.
That I was actually just thinking of that scene when you were talking about that, and I've been talking to my wife about this area that you're talking about. For some reason, I've been obsessed with finding movies that take place in that specific like deserty region. I don't know why. I'm just having this like crazed obsession lately of just wanting to absorb that area. I need to go there.
There is a pretty sweet fire tribe thing, like, 'cause that's the thing, like if you go far enough out here, like you're just like, we'll find like empty like acreage of desert, like complete nothing, you know. And like there'll be some people that'll own it, and like there was this fire tribe event at one of them that was pretty sweet. But that was gonna say the Foo Fighters song Times Like These, their music video was filmed here.
Oh, okay.
It's like pretty close to my house.
Wow. So where did even comics come into the fray at all at first for you? Were you just into art, into cartooning? Like where did this start coming in?
So definitely, I remember having like a handful of like Disney comics when I was a kid, like Aladdin, Mickey Mouse, stuff like that I would just like look at over and over. I would get Mad Magazine like when I was real small, like when the first Mortal Kombat movie came out. I remember getting the one for that. That was my first one. Whenever that was, probably like 95 or something, 96.
Yes.
Which is way late, but you know. And then but like that was the thing. I remember like we had a shop up here, but they were so like unfriendly and like not very helpful at all. And I remember, because like that's the thing, like when I was a kid, I mean, there's a point like around that same time when I would get they had like these comics at the little arcade in the mall. Like I remember a trip when my dad took me and I used my tickets to get comics, but then I got like an issue of Young Blood and like Velocity, and I did not like those at all. And I remember being so confused. Like I told David Grom about this before, but he always brings it up because I'm like, which one's Young Blood? Like I was so confused about the whole thing. It didn't make any sense to me at all. So like it kind of turned me off. And the like, I mean, when I was a kid, I want superhero comics. I want like the stuff I'm seeing on TV. And at the time, all that stuff felt like a commodity. And I remember my cousin having like Wolverine comics. And from my guessing now, it was probably like that Larry Hama run. Yeah. But I wasn't allowed to touch them. I could only like see them like bagged up, you know?
Oh.
So like, I remember stuff like that. Like all like cards were always like so hard to get. Like I had like Peanuts cards and like Power Rangers cards. Like I never had like any of those Marvel cards because they were just such a commodity.
Wow.
But I think the big one, honestly, which came later, because like I've drawn since I was a little kid. Like that's pretty much always been there for the most part. But I remember Hush got put into trade, and this dude brought a bunch of his brother's trades to school. I think I was in 9th grade at the time, and Hush kind of blew my mind because it was like, they'll never be able to make a movie like this with all the stuff going on, because it was just like that was like the perfect Batman comic for me to read at the time. It has like everything you'd want. Like, I think I was like 15 or something.
Oh
14.
yeah.
You know, it was like had every character and all that stuff. So that was like, I was just like, okay, we need to get more comics. And like, he let me borrow a few, and then I remember me and my mom went back to that comic shop because I learned about Ultimate Spider-Man. So I'm like, okay, that's where I can jump on. Because like now, I mean, like it's always been an issue. Like, where the fuck do you start with these things, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like looking for like a one I can find, and I remember the first one I got was it's like is it Mark Miller? No, yeah, it's definitely Mark Miller. It's Mark Miller and Terry Dodson. It's a little mini. It's actually a pretty fun comic. I like it a lot. It's a Marvel Knights one, and like it's this big story with the Green Goblin. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of irrelevant, but I got that, and then I'm looking for Ultimate Spider, like the first trade of Ultimate Spider-Man, and I remember we go to that comic shop, and like the guy should have known, like, hey, what you want is like the trade paperback of #1, but I'm asking for like the #1, and they're like laughing at me because they're like, that's sold out, that's so expensive now, like, and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, so we just like, I think that's where I got the Terry Dodson book, because then we just went over to Barnes and Noble, and I just went to Barnes and Noble for like a long time, like getting my trades, until we got like another shop like way later, like maybe in like the last 5 years.
Wow. Yeah. I had one good shop where I grew up in Springfield, Missouri, in the Ozarks, but since then I've not been able to really find a comic shop that I've felt comfortable going into.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
My comic shop's cool now, but
Awesome.
It was just a long time for us to get another one. So like 2015, when like when Secret Wars was going on in Marvel, that's when they came around. But
so
like
the Ultimate line, man, wow. That I think that even came out in my college. I think that came out in my college years.
Yeah.
That was good stuff, though. It really was.
I only ever read the Spider-Man one, but I remember like when I was younger, like they'd have a bunch of like I was probably like in junior high, maybe like in 7th grade, but they had a bunch of like binders and folders and like pencils, but it was all of the Ultimate X-Men. Like it wasn't Jim Lee's X-Men anymore, but I still was like, yep, we're getting that. It's X-Men.
Yeah. It was not a bad run at all. I mean, I was a pretty loyal X-Men fan at the time, and when the Ultimate line came out, the X-Men comics had really waned. I mean, after Claremont had left, I wouldn't say it was horrible. It just, some stuff was good, you know, a lot of it was just like, but the Ultimate line kind of gave back a little bit of spark. What was the book, or like what encounter did you have with the illustrative realms that made you like really start kicking in and making your own stuff? What was the thing that triggered it?
Like my first memories are like drawing, so I don't know exactly what it was that got me to draw in the first place. But I mean, I drew for so long, and like as long as I can remember. But then there comes a point, like sometime after high school, where I just felt really down on my art, and I kind of just stopped for a long time, and I didn't start drawing again until like maybe like, okay, so maybe actually time's all messed up for me, because I'm like thinking 2015 is 5 years ago, so the shop's been around since 2015. I've probably been drawing again since like 2017, and there was no thought in my mind that I was like, I'm gonna draw comics. I was just like, I'm gonna write comics and I'll thumbnail my stories so my artists can have a better idea of what the hell I'm talking about.
Have you ever had any formal art training?
I had a class in college, and I think the best thing I got to learn from that was a little bit of perspective. But other than that, I don't know like any rules or anything. I just know what I see.
A little bit of perspective.
Well,
So
I mean, like,
I'm laughing
that's the
because
takeaway.
I mean I laugh because when looking at your work, I mean I'm almost sitting there, you know, wondering, did you have any sort of architectural background or background in geometry? Right. I mean, you have such a wonderful eye for symmetry and structure and how things can actually work on the page. I have to personally keep things as simple as possible, because if I add too much on the page, I've completely ruined it. And you have so much going on, but it all works so perfectly and it's all so well balanced. Again, if anybody watching this, go out and like take a look, because I'm not bullshitting here. So where did this come from? I mean, is this just a natural progression of just who you are and how you express yourself on the page?
I guess so, because I don't know like any other way to, I guess I don't know how to quantify it. It's just like whatever like feels right or like looks right to me. I don't know, because I've never done anything like architecture wise or anything like that. Like I took one basic art class in college, and like I've just drawn. But I mean, I don't know. I think comics in general just so different, because like even before, like I guess I would draw like I would like try to fill up pages, so like with a bunch of like crazy stuff, but it's definitely like makes me think a lot differently. And like with the power especially, it like really it provides that element that I'm able to do that stuff with, whereas like I don't know, it's not always that easy with like pinups and stuff, but like with, I don't know, I guess with the power or certain other things, just with comics in general, it feels right. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to, hopefully I didn't embarrass you by tooting your own horn,
no,
but
no.
I mean, it's incredible. Your work is incredible. So, and I mean, I hear you. I mean, I even went to school for art. Mm-hmm. And it's not like I learned anything at all that I could apply to what I'm doing now. This is just, it just comes with just doing it over and over and over and over and over again. Really. And then however you progress is however you progress. So I know you from the Cartoonist Kayfabe community. I know you from the Power, COSMICAT, all of this. What, you know, who was Rick Lopez before that? Were you making anything? Because I mean, I've looked on your website. I didn't notice anything previous to this kind of kayfabe era, or maybe I wasn't looking hard enough. Any
like,
zines, any works?
I did. This is like before pandemic happened. It like threw everything off for this. So there was this guy who did a zine, and it was during the time when I thought like I'm just gonna like write comics, like I'm not gonna draw them. But I was doing it's like when I first started drawing, again, I was like drawing these Marvel characters in ballpoint pen, but I was doing like the alphabet and I never finished it. So like when I started like getting back into like drawing again, like every day pretty much, I went through that, but I did it every day. And it was just on like a January 1st of one year. And then I went to just A to Z, like a bunch of different Marvel characters. And this dude eventually reaches out to me and he's like, hey, scan those for me. Like I want to put them in my zine. I was like, okay, like I'll do that. And like, I think by the time it comes out, he wants to do like a little interview, and like we talk about the first issue of The Power and like that it's going to come out. But the thing is like I was saying, I thought I was just going to write comics. And so there's like a point where like whenever like people would come over or whatever, I'd be like, hey, pitch me a character and I'll get, like, just give me any character and I'll pitch you a first issue, like, right now. And it was always just a fun exercise. And like, I'm still totally like, there's a lot of pitches in there where I'm like, oh yeah, those are good still. But one buddy I hadn't seen in a long time, he came over and I did it with him. And then he's like, why don't you do your own, why don't you do your own story? You know, you should write your own story. And like, he does tattoos and he still does tattoos. And like, if he does watch this, like, it's not to shit on you, I promise. But there was a point where he was supposed to draw the power, like, after I came up with the idea for it. Cause that was the first, like, after he was like, think of something else, think of your own shit. That's when I came up with the power. And I came up with like a very loose like script and like dozens of thumbnails, and like there's that splash in the first issue, this one. I'll have to send you a picture of it sometime. But this splash, that was the first image I saw in my head.
Wow.
And like I have like a really like, that was what kind of like set the whole thing off, like him just like kind of like floating there and like looking at this, everything, like, you know, all of it being created around him. But I kept working on thumbnails and working on the script, and I'm like, so let's do this, dude. And like the more it just never happened. And then like one day I'm just like, well, he's just not gonna do it. And like, it's fine. Like, and then I started on the first page and I drew that like the like entrance to the house, or like the house, and it was real rough. But like I started right on the house, and then like the next day I'm like, okay, let's do the next page. And then I worked on that for a long time before like I even went on the Cartoonist Kayfabe group. And I thought I was going to release all 4 issues, and I was going to release the trade, like all, like drop them all at once. Which is just dumb, obviously. Thinking back now, it's like, I don't know how I thought that, but I was totally like, this is what we're doing. But now I have a fuckload of pages still that either get updated or they like, you know, get removed or get switched out. But that helps me like get through a lot of these issues too, because I have a lot of those big, let me find one, a lot of those big like geometric kind of doubles, they got started a while ago, so I was able to like fix them up better. And just a lot of pages in general, they like got updated and stuff, but I just have so many. Let me turn my light.
Oh my god.
This is from issue 3.
Oh my god, that is so beautiful.
I'm almost there. I still have like a few more to go to get there. I don't know if I showed you this one or not, because I don't know, I haven't gotten to the cool pages in my head yet.
Oh,
so this is one I've been like showing off over and over for issue 3.
That is so gorgeous.
Thank you, dude.
Incredible. So where did the idea for the power come from? Like, what? How did this develop?
Definitely, I gotta give shout out to Animal Man and Flex Mentallo for sure, because both of those books kind of like fucked my head up after I read them.
You said Flex,
like, obviously,
Flex Mentallo, but what else?
Animal Man.
Oh, okay, Animal Man. Yeah.
Yeah, Grant's run. Yep. That's a tearjerker for me. That one killed me.
Yeah.
And just like everything that they like issue 18 when they go do peyote on that cliff, you know, and then he like looks at you, like that was like, oh my fucking god. I was like moments I live for and like will remember forever. And I know just probably just Grant Morrison in general and Alan Moore. Those guys, like, cause like I remember when that movie like first got announced for Watchmen, and I had no fucking clue what it was, and like, but everyone was like, it's this big thing, and I'm like, what the hell? So like I went and got that book, and that fucking changed everything for me. And like for a long time I'm like, they don't make comics like this is the only one, like this was made with alchemy or some shit. Yes, because the level of craft they put into it, which I still stand by, but you know, like that made me want to read other comics. Like I remember always thinking like people that would only read like Image or stuff, like they're all snooty, like, I don't read Marvel comics. But like now I'm just like, I don't read Marvel comics.
Yeah.
You know, they have to be specific. But Watchmen fucking changed everything for me for sure. like just showed me all this, like how much, like, I don't know, I can't, like, it's all been said about Watchmen, but man, that one personally like really changed a lot for me, and then made me go look for other books. And then like Sandman was my favorite for a long time.
Yes.
And then I eventually read The Invisibles, and like that's my favorite comic of all time. That,
yeah,
everything about that book, like, not just like, it's not even like the art, it's just like all the different like messages and stuff, and like the little like things that they say, or like the calls to like the Smiths and Morrissey, like totally unexpected. Like being like a huge Smiths fan, like, oh my god, this book is everything I've ever wanted.
I was just talking about The Invisibles on a podcast I was recently on. I think it was Higher Side Chats, and we were talking about how in Grant Morrison talked about Invisibles was like basically just this big giant magical spell,
right?
In and of itself, this like huge magical sigil. And so when I got into Invisibles, that's when I was getting really heavy into studying like ceremonial magic and chaos magic and sigil magic, and it just, yeah, it that series kind of fucked me up to by the time I got to the last book. I think I was so disjointed and so just like everything blew apart for me so much. I could not, to this day, and I have the books, I have like I've read it a couple times since, to this day I cannot tell you how it ends in any way, shape, or form. And I'll always thank Grant Morrison for that. I love the experience of someone's craft just doing that for you, like being a drug for you.
Yeah, the first time I read it, I felt lightheaded after I finished that last issue. Like, I never felt like that ever before, like from a book. And that one was just like, man, that was awesome. And it's just like, I always want people to read it so I can talk to them about it, because I'm like, all the cool stuff are spoilers. You gotta read this shit.
Yeah. I like Grant Morrison enough that I even like some of his mainstream things as well.
Oh yeah, dude.
I really enjoyed All-Star Superman. I think that was one of the better. Do you have any other major influences that have come into the Power? Because I remember seeing, the sacred geometry in that damn thing is just mind blowing. But I remember seeing, I think it's in issue 1, and I think it's like on the last page or near the last page. Like,
the Tree of Life.
Yeah, you even have a sigil of the Tree of Life on there. So are you drawing from heavy esoteric influences for this at all, or is this just what you've just absorbed through osmosis and you're just like flowing through?
I feel like that for sure. And then just like also like a big thing, like, I mean, it's like a show don't tell, so it's not necessarily like pointed out like, hey, look at this, but it's all the symmetry and all these symbols like throughout like all the human existence, where it's like they may look different but they all mean the same thing, you know. And it's, I don't know, I was just like going through a lot, like I have this one for it and it's mirrored on both sides, where each side is different. They're the same symbol but they mean opposite, or they mean the same thing, you know, they're just on opposite ends.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yes. Jesus.
And I mean, I don't write that specifically down, but I mean, like, it's free to interpret whatever you want from it. But for me, It's just, I see all these different symbols, you know, and they all mean the same. They all mean the same thing, you know, just regardless of how they look. Like there's like the Celtic Tree of Life, and then like the Kabbalah Tree of Life, and that sort of stuff. They're all in there. I don't know. I guess I would say osmosis for sure. The Invisibles is really big in there, for just like with, I don't know, they like, it's all like this, it's all like, which side are you on? But it's all this like one, it's all the same, it's all two sides of the same coin, you know, like as above, so below.
Yeah. That
I'm kind of like a big proponent of that. Like if I was born as Daniel and you were born as Rick, we'd still be sitting here.
Yeah. that sort of like dualistic mirroring effect of reality is something that's been just coming up a lot for me lately, and it's been coming up in a lot of conversations. So I'm not surprised how you brought that up, and how that's obviously, yes, reflected in your work. You need to have a gallery showing for those original pages. Those are blowing my mind, man. Holy shit. Those are gorgeous.
I appreciate it, dude. I want to get this book out so badly. Hopefully others will feel similar.
Yo, there's plenty of us waiting for it, man. But also, it's what I love about the community that we're into is it's not like we're all fans of each other, but it's not like there's this huge pressure, because however long it takes to do the book is however long it takes to do the book, and we got to do it right. So for sure, it's funny that you mentioned that peyote scene, because it's actually that scene, and then there's a scene in Preacher where he takes peyote, that like those two comics in particular are kind of what inspired me to want to start working with peyote. And which I did, and so and it's so funny how it all kind of just rolls back, because now I'm making comics about it, and my experiences with it, and I feel like that there's something about this particular medium, and I've been trying to like get I've been trying to find a way to verbalize it and to word it, and maybe I probably shouldn't, because it's just my brain always trying to categorize things. But like the effect that you felt from Invisibles, I felt from Invisibles, that you felt from Animal Man, and I felt from other works, including Morrison and Alan Moore, and well, hell, even Mike Carey is another one of my favorites. Scott McCloud. Like, I don't get this effect from a regular book. I don't get this effect from a movie. I don't get this effect from music. There's this way in which they can pace out, or what we can pace out images on a page in our own rhythm. So like in a movie, like you're having to kind of just like stick to a certain time frame. You have a budget. You've got a limited, you've got kind of a limited scope, even within the frame of being able to work. But we almost have like no boundaries of being able to take, that the literary medium and being able to push it into new, like weird fucking ways. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, no, I totally agree, because it's like the more like because it's like before, like the artists would be like, well, we can do this stuff like that the movies can never do, like so like with the Marvel and DC comics. But it's like now, like the more esoteric stuff that's happening in comics, it's like you can never produce this, and it's like only for comics, and I love it.
Yeah,
it's like my favorite thing,
Yeah,
it's just, I don't know, I love the medium. Have you ever read Multiversity, or have you read Pax Americana at least?
I haven't read Pax Americana, but I did read Multiversity, and I did love it.
That one's in there then.
Okay.
It's like with the Charlton characters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But like with that book, you can read it forwards and backwards, and it's fucking insane, dude. When you read it backwards, it's not fair. That was like a big thing where it just seems so unfair. Like you're able to do all this stuff. Like one writer would be able to make the Invisibles, and like that would be it. They would like have spent, because there's so many good ideas in there that all get spent, and then Grant just continued to make more shit. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah,
and it just inspires me so much.
He's a force for sure. Or they. I think he goes by they now.
Yeah. Another one, which is, I mean, it's still newer to me, but it's been like the last few years or so. But from the channel, Klaus kind of changed a lot of shit for me too, like Klaus artistically.
Is pretty wild.
And I ended up like buying all of his books, like maybe in 2019. And I went through them like in chronological order, and that was like the kind of the coolest shit I've ever seen. Just seeing how he grows and evolves over time, and like getting to patience, and it's like that was the greatest thing he ever created until he makes the next one, you know?
I need to dive deeper into Klaus.
That one. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, for me it's like I wanna be like Grant and Klaus. Because they both write so well, and then Klaus's art like speaks to me so much. I love everything about it. His lettering and like how he can just change up his technique for colors, and like even with COSMICAT, like that's very inspired by Ghost World for sure. Or okay, the turquoise, like the teal turquoise kind of color. I haven't. Yeah. When the book comes out, it's gonna be like that. I know I've done it some here and there, like in posts. But so the plan is like after issue 3 is done of The Power, I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go to COSMICAT and get that collected into an issue. But like the first 10 strips, I was putting like gray onto the board. So like I want to redo those 10 pages, and I want to redo some panels, and then I'm gonna color it with that sort of like teal color. But that's totally like inspired from fucking Ghost World.
Yeah, I love that.
I love the colors.
Teal color. Yeah. That's actually, no, I think I've read another Klaus. But I know I do have Ghost World. I can't think of the other piece. One book that I don't know if this is the right Klaus place to really start, because I'm not sure if Ghost World's really like the best place to start with Klaus, but Dan Pussy I've been wanting to pick up.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
I remember when Jim and Ed kind of did a video on it, and it pulled me in so much. I need to pick it up.
That book, like he's just so like his endings are always like this like bittersweet gut punch where you're just like, fuck, dude. Like even with Ghost, like you've read Ghost World, right? Like even with that one, I was just like, it's like life, but it was so like, because it's like at the end they're just these acquaintances. Later on in life they kind of just like pass each other, and I'm just like, god damn, dude, I know that feeling. And like, damn, so real and so good. His endings are just killer. That's what I love. I love a good ending.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody. I'm like trying to think of people that are kind of like in that particular league that has been blowing my mind lately.
Yeah, it's all old stuff in my head.
I've been really. I'm always into Rick Veitch. Rick Veitch has always been a huge inspiration for me. If you haven't, have you dove into any of his things like The One or Max Immortal? Or
I honestly haven't, and I need to.
Yeah, you like really do.
Blind spot for me. Yeah,
Max Immortal, especially, kind of. It's very much in this like same vein that Moore and Morrison are in, because it's kind of this like weird sort of meta narrative where the plot isn't really, there's a plot and it's a good plot, but he just brings in all of these other undertones and side stories into the main thread that are just like these really wild like portraits that he's trying to paint of different scenarios. Like there's this whole under thread of Max Immortal that's kind of the story of Siegel and Schuster and the creation of Superman, but it's not Superman. It has to do with this Max Immortal character and the way you know, this like Ubermensch mentality kind of has infected the American mind and relating it to the atom bomb, because that's basically what like his Superman character is. It's like just a replacement for the atom bomb. And it's total like 50s Americana sort of, you know, this is the American dream, but the American dream is fucked up and it's twisted and weird, and we are the ones that have created this, and we are the ones that, like, through the power of our own imagination, we've created this, like, this weapon, and we all have a part in it, sort of thing. And it's so crazy. It's so good. Yeah, you need to
definitely check that out.
Yeah, you need, and if you get,
I've seen stuff from it, and I'm like, it's been in the back of my head, but sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, if you order from his website, he has a whole stock of the stuff, and he'll sign it for you and everything, so you can get it signed by Veach. And he's such a sweet old man too. Like, I interviewed him for Wizard, and I have a video of it that I'll drop after Wizard #2 comes out. Well after it comes out, but he just seems like, you know, I have a feeling if I ever met Grant Morrison or Alan Moore, they would just be larger than life, you know, like they would be a force to be reckoned with in the room. But Rick Veach is just your normal guy, just hanging out, you know. He's very unassuming, and he just likes to hang out in the woods and not be bothered. And just like, I love it. It's perfect. So we've got the Power with you, and we've got COSMICAT. Did COSMICAT, was that something that's been with you for a long time? And
no, like the only problem is I don't remember who it was, but there is an indie comics union, or at least that's the title, you know. It's not like a real union or anything, but it's like a group of like these indie artists that got together on Instagram, and I think it was in 2021, or actually I think it was 2020 actually, shit. But we would, like, in the month of December, we did four different like group cover homages with whoever you want to include from like the indie comics union, or just indie comics creators basically. And like each week there'd be like a golden age, silver age, like bronze, modern, or whatever. And I did the Justice League, so I did like all the #1s for Justice League pretty much. But basically, one of the, like, when I was looking for characters to pull from, I'm like going through the people I follow. This one dude, I think I still follow him. I don't believe I see his stuff anymore. He posted this little, I don't know if it was something he did for school, but it was just like a 1 or 2 page thing that he did for an assignment. And it was this character called Guncat, and it was just a character in like an astronaut suit. And I just drew it for my group shot. And I remember talking to Jerome Cabanatan, and I'm like, dude, I want my own Guncat. Like, I wish I could draw that thing all the time. And then so I drew this. This was actually my first COSMICAT.
Oh, fuck yes. That's awesome.
That was the first COSMICAT. And then I'm like, I want his face smaller, you know? So he's like more cute looking, like kind of like how he's now.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I remember pitching it to Jerome, and I'm like, yeah, it's Fritz in space. Because, you know, just trying to get like a little, but I'm like, he smokes, he cusses, he shoots guns, he fucks, he regenerates. But now it's like so much bigger than what, like, at least in my head, like it's so much more than like what I ever thought it was gonna do. Like now he's like, he like got away from this fucking planet he was on, and he fell asleep on the ship and started dreaming about when he was a barbarian. And like this very next strip ends that and has him waking up finally. And I just have all these like different, like all these ideas that'll come to it eventually. And it's just like funny how like, yeah, I'm just like he's gonna, because like the premise was like, yeah, his Cadillac's gonna get fucked up and he's gonna go through all this dumb shit, and it's for him to finally get to this date that he's trying to try to go on. And when he finally gets there, she's like, oh yeah, so where's your car? Like, that's the whole reason I went to go out with you. And he's just like, fuck, like, and that's where it ends. But like, it's gotten so much further than just like that initial funny premise.
That's fucking awesome. And this is Next Panel Press?
Yeah.
Is the union?
Yeah, this is Next Panel Press. This is an indie comics union. Me and Craig CK, for a long time I was bugging him because it's like, I still like, I'll talk about that at some point. But after the Power, I want to do an anthology book, like the way, because like I got like all of Klaus's books like as trades, but then I eventually got all the 8-ball singles, and then I like a little bit before that, I won this auction, and I got from like issue 1, I think it's like in April of 76 for heavy metal, all the way till December 79. And like those 2 books, man, they fucking changed, like they changed the game for me in my head. And like, I really have all these short stories I want to get to at some point, and so when the Power is done, I want to put them in this anthology book. And like, there's a bunch of other stories I'd like to serialize and stuff. Okay. Thank you. So I was bugging Craig for the longest time, and I'm like, dude, we need to make, like, we each need to have like our own 8 balls, our own like neat stuffs and hate and all that sort of stuff like that. Like, we need to bring that shit back.
Yeah.
And then from there, it like evolved into, we need to do strips. And for a while, it was just me, Craig, and David Grom. And then Grom ended up getting hurt at work, and he couldn't draw for a little bit. And we brought on Eli, and at first we're like, yeah, we'll bring him on, have him as a guest and whatever. And then we're like, what are we doing bringing you on as a guest? Like, we'll just bring you on. And then like, it just keeps growing more, or at least it's a little like we haven't added new members in a while, but there's still 13 of us, which is pretty sweet. And we put out, because of the way Instagram works, there was a point where like, or there still is, but there was a point where there was 10 of us on one weekend, and when we added the new person, it would make an 11th, and you can only post 10 images on Instagram. So we ended up, it's so arbitrary and stupid, but we had to change, we had to fix some stuff up because of Instagram. So, but it also, I think it's for the better, because now we're just weekly, like every Sunday there's a brand new update from the group. It's just every other Sunday you're going to get like COSMICAT, or the opposite Sunday you'll get Kirby and Bob and all the other stuff. How that's grown, and like the responses from it and stuff. And the deadline is a big one for sure. That helps a lot. Me and Jerome talk about that pretty often. Like, the deadline's really big, because I don't want to miss it. Like, I don't want to let anyone down, and I want to try and set the example, you know? So I don't want to like look like I'm bullshitting, especially like, because I've been posting like some pictures of figures. If I don't have a COSMICAT on fucking Sunday and I have a picture of an action figure, like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah,
can't be doing that.
No, I agree, man. The deadlines are like, they scare me, but so for me this past year, I had a deadline to complete like my trade of Psychonaut, and I had 2 other comics that I wanted to draw and have available for Comic-Con, and that, like, I made the decision in October of last year, and I wanted to have everything ready by January in time for like printing and everything, so I didn't know how the whole printing was going to go, and it was exhausting. But I'm so glad I kept myself to a deadline, because that was like the only way I could have gotten all that stuff done. And now, since that time, I've just been like, okay, I'm going to relax for deadlines for a while. And now I'm like, wow, I really haven't got as much work done as I normally could. Like, I need to start setting some new deadlines for myself, because get it all done.
Right. I need to figure that out too. Like, I mean, like, Next Panel Press, like that's like my one real deadline I ever have. Like, when I did the pinup for you though, like, I made sure to keep that in mind. Or I did one for issue 3 of Ghost Agents, and Rocco wanted it by a specific date. So I think like the next panel press is definitely like showing me like you can make a deadline, and it's like giving me like a better idea of like how long it takes for me to finish stuff too.
This
so
is
been interesting.
Badass pinup, by the way. Thank you so much. Holy God.
Absolutely, dude. Thank you, man. Should have pulled that out of my book. Let's see if I could grab it. Yeah, that one was, I'll show you the one I did for Rocco too. That one was a lot of fun to do though. I really appreciate you asking me. That was a whole lot of fucking fun.
Appreciate you delivering, because Jesus.
This one? Yeah, there you go.
Yes. That's amazing.
Thanks, dude. Put that in there.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then this one's for Rocco. I'll show you the colored version later on.
Oh, hey, it's an angel. Like a real angel. Hey, there you go. That's great.
Have you seen Adam Lemna's like double page he did for Ghost Agents? And it's like the Kirby collage.
Oh no, I think he did post that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's the same character. There's a few of us that are doing pinups and following that same character and like seeing like what he sees.
Mm-hmm.
And I know David Grom has one. I don't remember. I know Rosalie has something. Rosalie Higashi. I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been one of those two, if I'm not mistaken. But I know me and Grom have those pinups coming in the next one, so that's pretty sweet.
I kind of feel like I mean, I don't regret my decision, but I kind of feel like I missed the boat on the Ghost Agents thing because Rocco asked me to join in on that early in the game. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember who ended up doing it, but they did a fantastic job. But it's the story where the spy girl, she is like sitting around looking at a bunch of records in a room, and she takes a hit of acid. Yeah. So she takes this hit of acid, and it's this whole trippy sequence that he originally assigned that to me. And then like after he did that, I had all this shit go on, and then I had these deadlines I had to meet. I was like, man, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. But he passed it on to, and they did a wonderful job with it. But that book is so good. And I only got to talk with him briefly, but I hear he's awesome to work with. I know Eli loves working with him.
Yeah, Rocco's super nice. He was like, when we were doing image grand design, like we were zooming with him like almost every night in the beginning. That was a game changer for sure. Like that came around at the perfect time because I'm like spinning my wheels with the power, thinking I'm gonna put out. I think like by that point, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish this first issue and like start putting it out because I had just came back to like there's a point where I totally deactivated my Facebook and I just wasn't paying attention to that at all. And then I came back and I joined the Cartoonist Kayfabe ringside group, and Wizard, they were just finishing up taking submissions for Wizard, and I'm like, I don't have anything to give these guys. Like I'm not ready yet, so I had to pass on Wizard. But then when remember Jerome made that post about image grand design, I'm like, I have to do this time. I have to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And that changed everything for me because I wasn't done with issue 1 yet, and like I think I got a lot of my big mistakes out on image grand design, unfortunately, and fortunately.
Yeah.
And then just like getting to meet everyone was like ninth grade all over again. It was fucking crazy. Just like meeting all these people, and like the Zooms were like dozen people every fucking night for like months on end because like the pandemic had started and we're all at home and everything. And like when they started shutting everything down, my job like shut down like pretty fucking immediately, and then I was just home working on the power. And then like maybe like a day or two in, Jerome made that post and it was just like game over. I think like that night I did like a page that never didn't even get included. There's a point where I was like, maybe I'll give this like darkest image, but I never found the time to even do it. It's like malbullshit, because like that's the thing. Like when I was a kid, I didn't like that image stuff. Like I wanted actual superheroes. Like I didn't know who the fuck Youngblood was.
Right.
And like, I mean, I knew Spawn, but like other than that, not really, not much of anything else. And so,
yeah, it was exciting at the time, but it didn't have like a content to it that like grabbed me.
Yeah.
You know,
the movie was rated R, so it was like hard for me to get my hands on.
Do you have music that like really pulls you and inspires you that you listen to while you work specifically?
I have like a lot of different music. I mean, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Avalanches. They're pretty big for me right now. I like them a lot. They do like one of their albums, Since I Left You. It has like every song has like 1 million fucking samples on it, and it's just like so good. And like, I don't know, a lot of instrumental stuff, and like not so much singing, you know, in that sense, as opposed to like using samples or like finding like bits of stuff. Or like Portishead I like a lot.
Yeah, I like Portishead.
Yeah.
I haven't heard Avalanche though. I'm writing them down.
Yeah, I'll send you some links to some songs. Let's see what else is in here. But I mean like David Bowie, The Smiths, Pink Floyd for sure. Like I remember like hearing Time when I was like in like junior high and high school, and then now listening to Time, I'm like, this is fucked up. I don't like this song as much.
I was a couple of years ago, I kind of was walking up to my kids' room, and because I couldn't find my Pink Floyd CDs, and I was like, what the fuck, did one of my kids like steal my CDs? I still have CDs, which is funny. And like go up to his room, and he's just sitting there listening to Dark Side of the Moon and Metal, which is my favorite Pink Floyd album, Metal. And I was just like, oh, I can't be too mad at him. I think I'm proud. It's just like a really nice dad moment. I did something right.
There's this band I need to show you too. There's this one, they're called The Comet Is Coming, and they have this song called The Blood of the Past. And it's a lot of instrumental, but there's a point where it's a lot of spoken word in the middle, and it's fucking gnarly. You probably like it. Parov Stellar, there's another one that I like. They're like more so like just instrumental or like electronic stuff. I like that a lot, where it's not always so much words, because then I'll end up like singing with it.
Yeah, if I listen to anything that has words, the lyrics have to be so distorted that it's just part of the music. That's why I'll listen to like doom or fuzz metal a lot when I work, because it gives me energy. But also, just like if they're singing, it's just it just sounds like, you know, static. Their voice is just part of it. That's awesome. Yeah. Let me see what you're working on. Oh, beautiful, man. You got the Kirby crackle down. That's just wonderful.
Thanks, dude.
Before we get off, that's what I wanted to ask you real quick as well. I can't believe this completely. Since you're showing that off, you work traditional materials. I mean, you're sitting there graphing and everything. Like what pens and pencils are you privy to that you like the most or lean on the most? Here.
I use microns a lot.
Yeah, I use microns.
3 and 8, and then I've been using this big one for like panel borders. And then someone mentioned, I don't even remember what got mentioned anymore, the Pentel Rolling Rider. Someone uses it for letters. It might have been one of the Hernandez brothers. It might have been someone else completely. Someone mentioned it, and I got it. And they're cool for lettering, but I did like that whole, I don't know if you saw that group shot I did of Next Panel Press with all the characters. I did that all with this pen, and when I went to correct it with my Uniball Sino pen, which is like the best pen I have to go over blacks, it did not very well go over this. You still saw blue under it. But that's, I don't say that's a slight towards the Sino pen. It just shows me to not use this one as much, or for at least a whole fucking piece. Use it for letters because I like the way it feels for letters.
I usually use Micron 02 for letters, but I'll have to try that.
Let me find this one pen. I have a version of it, but it's not the specific one.
And you use Uniball what for your?
The Uniball Sino pen.
Sino? I'll have to try that because right now I've been using
Jelly Roll, huh?
Yeah, Jelly Roll.
Yeah, I watched a video where this and a Jelly Roll got compared, and that's why I got this one. And I've been using it for a few years now.
Okay.
You can get those on jet pens. And this is my favorite brush. This is the one with black and gray. It's usually more of a tan one, but it's a Pilot double brush pen. And like one side is typically fat, and then the other side is like this small one. But I've wasted all mine. I don't have any left, and so I need to buy more. But right now I just have the black and gray. But there's a black where it's the small and then a fat brush, and that's my favorite pen ever. I always try to tell people to get that one because it's the brush pen and it feels so good.
I've been having a lot of luck with, well, I think it's actually the Pentel brand, but it's got some sort of Asian. Yeah, and I've actually had a lot of luck with it lately. I mean, I like working traditional brushes and nibs, and I have some. But every once in a while they can just get really frustrating. And if I just want a pen that I can just control the flow, I
still want to, I haven't opened mine yet. I still want to try that thing.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, it's, you have to have a lot of control to get really small lines with it. Cause it'll flow pretty heavy. But the way I see it, it kind of works in a very consistent flow with the ink through the brush. So once you like start to master it, it starts working fine, at least for me.
I ended up penciling on a different paper. I have pencils on a different page because like when I did that was another one. When I did image grand design, I did pencils and inks on the same page, and I didn't like how it came out, and I just have since then I've been just inking over it and ending up with 2 of everything though. Then like that page I showed you earlier.
Yeah, I noticed that because the pages you showed me earlier weren't inked. That's incredible. Yeah. So what do? Are you like tracing it over, or you're just using a light box, aren't you? That's what you just showed me.
Yeah, I have a light pad right here. Those are pretty light. Let me see. I'm sorry, dude. Oh, this is COSMICAT. Like, see, here's that Batman page. Those are the pencils for it.
Yeah, beaut. 100%.
Here's the ad for the power that's going to be in Wizard.
Oh, nice.
There's another COSMICAT action figure.
Nice.
That'll be in Wizard.
Love it. I want to do some action figure designs too. You actually kind of inspired me to that.
They're so much fun, dude. And it's just like I don't know. I like taking pictures of them. It's just more storytelling. And like the way they make them now is insane. Like they can just pretty much do fucking anything.
Right. So are you using the same paper for your inks?
No, separate paper altogether. Like,
well, I meant like same type of paper. Like what?
Yeah,
what
it's all
paper?
Bristol.
Okay.
It's this one. It's probably the one that most people use.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I use. Yep.
Yeah. And basic.
Well,
that's just a good one.
At Comic-Con, there was a an old fella who sat across from me. Oh, that's amazing. I love it.
A COSMICAT a few weeks back.
You know, maybe it would. I'm wondering because this old fella told me to get a light pad or a light box, and told me that it would like make everything move so much faster. So, do you find that it makes your process faster and not have to worry about all the pencils?
I love the light pad, dude.
Yeah.
I love the light pad, and then like when it's all done, it's just like that's it. You're done. I mean, I use the white and everything, but like I don't know. I like that process way better than having to ink over it and like trying to get rid of all. Because like then when I'm like digitally trying to knock shit out, I start losing stuff because I'm trying to take out things that I couldn't before, and like it was just like I'd have like screen tone pencils and inks all on one page.
Right.
And totally fucked me over on image grand design. And shout out to Ben Granoff. He was the one who ended up helping me before I knew like my sort of process to fix that. Because like even I'm sure I'm probably still doing it wrong, but like I'll scan stuff in and it'll look a little bit gray, and I'll curve and balance out all the blemishes and shit, and then I'll end up like multiplying the layer and duplicating it so it just goes flat black and white.
Right.
That's how I've been getting it for everything.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of cheating a little bit in my latest book.
Yeah, here's that one I was showing you earlier.
Oh yeah.
That was inked.
Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. I'm doing a lot of ink wash on the inks in my latest book, my Simon Myth book, and so I'm actually leaving a lot of the pencils on because they just kind of end up kind of blending in with that and adding like a texture. So I'm not having, except for just I think
that's just an inherent plus.
Yeah. I mean, I have to get rid of the Ames lettering lines because those are hokey to leave on, but everything else. Right. But well, no, dude, that's cool. I wanted to kind of know a little bit. I like to know what materials people use and a little bit of their process. That's always kind of like fun to dive into. So I appreciate that.
Here's this one, like for COSMICAT, right? So like, I have like I have a template that I built online, like out of all my stuff. So it's like I have like for COSMICAT, it's already lettered, it's already paneled. Like I'll do it on the board when I go next, but for pencils, you know, I already have my borders and all the letter lines down and everything, so I can figure. So like, if I erase the letters, I don't have to keep fucking putting the lines down. Right. But I start off with just like one of these essentially, and I do a bunch of thumbnails, and then I'll scan that in and I'll plop each one into here, and then I'll print that out, and then I'll like final pencil them down, take go to the light pad, put another sheet, ink it, and then take it back online and gray it.
Oh, I need a system like that. That's awesome.
The only thing is that I have all these fucking pencils, but maybe one day that'll be a plus. Oh, here you go.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's so awesome.
I was like, why did I choose wings? That's a pain in the ass. And if I do a commission list, it says it's no wings. That's one of my rules.
I'll remember that next time. That's awesome. Well, I mean, all those pencils are incredible because, I mean, you know, when you have that gallery showing, or the whole gallery that's named after you, all those pencils will be insane. I'm just trying to help. Just trying to pave that way forward, man.
Man, I want it so bad.
I think that's definitely in your future of many of the people that I know and I've interacted with. I was just showing this to my wife earlier, and she was, you know, she's not, I mean, she likes comics because she likes me, right. But you know, she was mind blown. I mean, it's that this you, and that's like what separates, you know, I think, you know, works that do great from works that do really well, because your shit can appeal to like anyone, and it's a game changer too, because you've used that word a couple times. It's one of those books that kind of reaches out beyond the normal scope of things. I love it. So
I appreciate that so much, dude. Seriously. Thank you.
well, I'll end everything on that note, because yeah, I don't think it could get much better than that. But I really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you kind of walking through your process and your materials and the behind the scenes of the Doom Dazed studio. So I really appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for having me. I was just glad to talk to you finally. I was like, man, got to get this dude on a Zoom.
Yeah,